Hello and welcome to another developer conversation for the Mini Indie Showcase for August 2023. Mike Townsend here along with Kyle Stevenson. And we're with
Hi.
Kevin and Matt from Bad Res Games and Manaboid Entertainment. Checkmate Showdown, fighting chess game. Gentlemen, hello.
How's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
hanging out, taking some time with us. Thank you for being a part of the show.
Our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you for supplying an exclusive reveal with us. November 15th, folks can finally play Checkmate Showdown.
Yes, finally, after all
This
time,
yeah.
it's ready to go.
How long has it been?
We've been working on this almost 2 years. Not 2 years all full team, but yeah, it's been 2 years. Then we've been starting working on this one. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. So give me the elevator pitch for Checkmate Showdown. What is this game?
So it's the concept is pretty straightforward. Chess meets fighting games. Checkmate Showdown is essentially just a normal chess match. But the twist on it is when these special pieces fight. So the back line only, we're talking about the bishop, the rook, the knight, and all those pieces. When they fight each other, that's when you go into the fight screen and a combat starts. So you have the opportunity to defend your piece, but we have multiple little things that we add to kind of change it up, such as pawns don't fight, but they just straight up eat you on the board. We have tag assist as well, depending on how your other pieces are placed on the board, if they can reach your square that's being attacked. Persistent HP, and that's it. And the objective is just to kill the king. So even if you put him in check, king's got to fight. Somebody has to win.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
Now, I haven't had a chance to go hands-on yet because we're very busy boys without any time to play video games. How would you describe the fighting style? Like, I know, like, at the time of recording this, you guys literally just came back today from EVO, which is wild. Again, thank you for not being asleep right now.
Yeah, I'm trying my best.
Yeah. I'm curious, what were kind of the inspirations in terms of, like, fighting? Like, is it more like a Street Fighter-like kind of game, or, like, you kind of go more casual, like the Smash Bros. Audience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, we chose to use the accessibility card more than the actual deep and competitive card, because we're a small team, so we wanted to make sure that the game would be accessible for every player that would get their hands on. And there will be fighting game players, of course, but we have also
Yes.
players, more casual players, and you have to play with 5 different characters at the first game. So
Yeah.
it had to be like very simple of access. So the like you said, the Smash Bros audience is pretty good, a good example of the kind of gameplay and player that we're looking to have here. Yeah.
How did this idea come together? Like, were you just playing chess and imagining what happens when the pieces take each other, or
Did you, like, accidentally punch a king? Or
Yeah, so I was so tired of losing at chess that I started throwing my pieces at the other person. So the idea came to mind to just beat up other human beings. No, it came from I know one of the inspirations.
I thought you were
came
serious.
No,
No, no, no, no.
no. One of the ideas came from Archon, which is an old game on the NES back in the late 90s, which kind of had that concept of you had a chessboard, and as soon as two pieces kind of got on the same square, there'd be this fight like sequence. There are a few other pieces that we got inspired from.
Yeah, for sure. And it has really been something that is interesting to try. Like making your chess pieces fight for real, and that's really something that we wanted to try as well. So, and there, of course, there has been like market study and usual business stuff to validate that it would be interesting to do. So
Yeah, it's one of those ideas that, like, I'm surprised in the year of our Lord 2023 has not been tapped into yet. It's just like it makes sense. Like, we'll see, like, if a checkers one comes out after you guys, we'll see if that's currently in development. But yeah, it's just like such an interesting and, like, captivating hook, and I love when developers like you guys, like yourselves, can really take such a classic idea and, like, put a new spin on it. And I think that's where, like, a lot of similar, I guess, not games, because not again, like not a lot of people are doing these things, but like taking a classic concept and really modernizing it for a wider audience. Let's say, like for example, I'm not a chess player, but I am all in on this idea. It's just like it's really fascinating. So like kudos to you guys for
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
leaning into
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
It's
and
always interesting. Sorry,
oh, go ahead.
it's always interesting to like imagine. Sorry, that kind of stuff
Yeah,
happening. You know, like mixing those genres.
Yeah,
It-
I think people should be less afraid of mixing genres. And we're also it's
I
sort
agree.
of at that point where like every type of game exists. So now it's just like kind of combining stuff to make something fresh. I mean, look at like FPS chess that came out and that kind of blew up too. And it's just done by 3 students and their teacher in university. So those ideas of like, what if we just took like this and mashed them up together? Would it make sense? Like, would it feel fresh? Would it feel good? And so far what we've seen at local FGC tournaments and even now at Evo is just like the concept has been approved. Like
Mhm.
they FGC likes the concept. The little nods to the strategy to kind of set up your fights as well is approved. So it's just one of those things where you kind of iterate and then all of a sudden you have something and it's just like, well, let's just go with this.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off that real quick. I'm curious to learn more about Evo and like not well, I know what Evo is, but curious to hear like how the reception was, because obviously this is it's a fighting game at its core, sure, but like
Mhm.
I'm curious how the Evo audience received the chess concept. Like how was the booth? Like what was the vibe?
Yeah, well, a lot of people, actually like this because they were also chess players.
Nice.
Most of the people that went to see our booth also play chess from time to time. Not probably not as much as fighting games, but they really referred to this and they really dug into the fact that we were mixing those genres, and it was really cool. And the fact that fighting games right now are kind of evolving in the line of using the tag assets. Like we want to be deeper and deeper, and using like 2 versus 2 was kind of is kind of one thing that we're going into as the fighting game industry. I mean, like, Project L is doing
Yeah.
this. Mortal Kombat 1 just revealed doing this, DBFZ and stuff. And like the fact that we are also bringing this mechanic and linking this really to chess. With the if your piece is protected by another piece before the combat starts, then this piece is going to join you into the fight. Really made them, so
Yeah.
that's really interesting to have the strategy part coming into the fight.
Yeah, I will say, I guess that's like that was like the biggest concern was
Yeah.
we knew FGC would play regardless, just because they'll play anything. But the chess part, would they be interested enough in learning kind of the basic openings, or just to have that basic knowledge of how your pieces work? And even for those that did stop by the booth and didn't have any chess knowledge whatsoever, they quickly figured out, after seeing that like you could get tag assist plus the attacker's advantage depending on how you were placed. That kind of flipped a switch on like, okay, like I actually should play this board game seriously,
Mhm.
because then I'm gonna be advantaged during the fights. So you can kind of see that twinkle in their eye of like, oh, I think I understand
Yeah.
like the different levels of strategy here. And also like the game is built so that we're not penalizing people that don't have that chess knowledge.
Okay.
You can still just move your pieces around and just go fight other people, but you'll quickly realize that having that board placement,
Knowledge.
setting up your end game, is everything.
I'll be one of those people. I for whatever reason never learned how to play chess.
Yeah, yeah, and there has been also a lot of people that they know the chess pieces and their moves, and
Yeah.
it can be enough in Checkmate Showdown to like just play and get your fun here. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear.
Yeah. I want to ask about the studios, Manavoid and Bad Res, co-developing this game. How important is it to make like every new game is like a new genre? Because it seems like everything seems to be different from project to project. So is that a tough thing, or is that like a goal to do as a studio?
I think he's talking about Manavoid there.
yeah, right.
Oh, sure.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for Manavoid, so it is co-developed between Manavoid Entertainment and Bad Res, but I think it's just one of those things where it kind of the idea always lingered in the Mana Void universe, in the Mana Void void, as you'd say, and
Yeah, the
then
mana voids.
the Mana Void, and then we came to a point where we had, you know, the time and sort of the resources to do it. And so I know the idea was always lingering, but at that point, Badarez was just coming into the Indie Asylum, which is the incubator we're in here in Montreal, and I kind of that natural feel of like, well, you
Makes
guys wanted
sense,
to
yeah.
do fighting games, and we had this idea for a fighting game. So
Yeah,
That's great.
Batters Games is specializing in fighting games. So Checkmate Showdown will be our first game to do.
Sweet.
Nice.
But yeah, it made sense at that moment that Manavoy was looking to do this game, and we were looking to make fighting games as
get
well
into
on
the
our
yeah.
side.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
Nice.
pretty much
It was
yeah.
a good marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, like at least in the indie circle, I know like friend of the show Jill Grote, the Indie Informer, was really hyped on this game, and like I know like it's getting a lot of attention from like the big players in the indie scene. Like, how does that feel being like with it being your first title?
Yeah, I mean, that was at the end of this weekend. We kind of looked at each other, and it was mesmerizing just to see that like every time people were stopping by the booth and looking at the gameplay, you know, we're there to kind of present it and make sure people know what it is. And so every time we asked, "Did you? Hey, is it your first time seeing this game?" and everyone's just like, "No, like I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it on TikTok." Like it's seeing that kind of it's very strange as a developer to kind of see the validation of like, no, like I've been following this for a few months already. And it's a great feeling. And again, it's all about validation. So that all the pretty much just positive feedback we've received is kind of it's not only heartwarming, but it kind of tells us like, oh, okay, like we're actually heading into the right direction. We should keep doing what we're doing.
And we're glad that the trailer of the game was actually aired on the main stage screen. So
Oh, was it?
Yeah, in
Yeah,
front of
that's
like
awesome.
20K.
That's
and
awesome.
there were like several players that came because they knew that we were here and they saw the trailer on the stage. And
Sonic Fox came by twice.
Sweet.
Just like in between sets, just had to play. So yeah, that's just those little things every time for us. Like it, that's the whole reason we go to these events.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I can't really imagine the feeling, like that sensation of seeing the trailer play on the main stage at like where like the turtles were revealed for for Street Fighter, and like the Mortal Kombat stuff was airing. Like that must be insane.
Yeah, I mean to be on the same stage where they're showing off like these pros, these kids that play every day nonstop just for the next Evo, like
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. And again, you know, at that moment that could have been the deciding factor of like, oh, like these guys are mixing these two genres together, like no, like you can't do that, or
Yeah.
sacrilege, whatever. But what it was the inverse effect where just like an inflow of people came from the main stage. It's like, hey, I just saw your trailer, like this looks dope, like let me try it out. And so at some point we just had a lineup of like, we had 2 stations, so we had a lineup of like 5 different groups that were waiting to play, and it's just like that was amazing.
Yeah, and like I mean,
Cool.
I'm sure you know better than us. Like the fighting game community could be very particular. So like even that, like that's wild. That's great.
Yeah,
Like clearly you guys are on the right track.
I'm new to FGC. I know Matt's been competing at Evo for like what 4 or 5 years now.
yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Several years. I don't remember how many. But
He's a
yeah.
Mortal Kombat pro,
Right,
so
yeah.
I mean the
Ooh.
game's
Oh,
already
I didn't know that.
thought out in kind of that expertise. And yeah, I'm new to this community, but although there are, you know, always the bad apples, what I've seen so far is just like complete full on like support, amazing
Oh, yeah.
feedback. You know, these pointers that with other types of players from other communities you could probably never get. They know exactly what they're talking about, like in terms of like the systems and stuff. And it was just like even just at these local tournaments with the Montreal Air Dashers, like the first time we went, we came out of there with like a book full of feedback, and we applied that feedback to the game, and then we came back with that feedback, and everyone had like nothing was said just because the feedback was applied. It was like, yeah, you guys did exactly what you told you to do, and now it feels better, and there you go, like you have a fighting game now.
Yeah. It's the fighting game community looks like they really know what they want. What
Yeah,
they're looking
exactly.
for in terms of precision, execution, and that's cool. And that's cool to see that there is room for us to improve in that direction as well.
Yeah, and even like you like instantly implementing the feedback, and then like obviously you're just like building that trust with the community, and it's just gonna pay back tenfold.
Exactly, and that's pretty important for how we're gonna like
Mhm.
continue with the game as well. I think the one of the biggest things, it's so we're an indie team, it's an indie game. You know, we can look at our wish list all day, and we can go to Evo and see all this validation stuff like that. But as an indie game, you know, it takes a lot of preparation, a lot of luck too, to kind of have a successful launch. So it depends a lot on how we launch, but whatever the community says at launch, like if they want to go in this direction, we're going into that direction. You know what I mean? Like we're super flexible and ready to listen to what they have to say and to make this game as fun as it could be.
That's great.
We are really working towards building the games with the community.
Yeah.
And it's really something that we are having in our core values with
Nice.
those fighting games. Yeah.
Now, I know this is probably going to be a tough question, but I have to ask. Who's your favorite piece to play as? Do you have one?
Personally, I love the king. I love them pretty much all, but
Yeah.
I love the king.
Don't cop out. That's not. Come
I,
on.
I love the king. You know, the big hammer guy. He has huge combos, and he really feels good to play. And the thing is, this is the character that you're gonna play less if you're playing good at the game. But yeah, you know, we've worked on him. I really worked on him. I mean, we really pushed the character
To its
further
limits,
than you know. And what's interesting about that character is that it has been built with the community in mind,
Yeah.
because you know, like people, you know, when we started talking about the game on our social media and our Discord and stuff, you know, the king was not
Fully fleshed out.
fleshed out yet. No. And people were expecting for the king to do that kind of stuff with their specials, with the, you know, I don't know if I'm going like to spoil anything about this, but
definitely
you know, like people were expecting something, and that's what we're giving to the players.
So we have
with the king right now.
We have a suggestions channel in our Discord, and a lot of it is just like, if you could see something in Checkmate Showdown, anything, you know, aesthetic, mechanics, features, whatever, what would it be? If you had a magic wand, what would it be? And so early on, we just got this huge list of just everyone just being like, oh, it'd be cool if you guys did this. And so one of the main things was the pawns. You know, the pawns don't fight. Because, well, first we did try the game where, you know, in our prototype, the pawns would fight, but the matches would just be too long. And so, you know, everyone was kind of saying, well, they have to do something, you know, either a modifier, they give you a health boost, they do this. And so we listened to them, because that was probably one of the suggestion that just came back, you know, every day. And so now the king's ult is literally, he sends out his pawns to do his bidding. So depending on the amount of pawns you have remaining on the board, that's the amount of pawns that he's sending out. So if you just have one pawn left and he's sending one, it's also kind of a deterrent to like bum rushing the king, because you can, if you want to, depending on if you're opening yourself to that kind of attack, but the king will have 8 pawns to attack you with. So there's that. And there seems to be this misconception where the pawns are protecting the king, like every piece is protecting the king, but rather the way you should see it is the king is caged, and you do not want to unleash him, because he will wreak havoc, like with the hammer and the pawns.
So the king, for the short answer, the king is my favorite personally. I don't know Kev, if you have.
I have. Listen, I'm really like the knight. I know that's your least favorite character. I like the knight. I just like the zoner's ability to kind of, you know, tease and then come back and send in ranged attacks. And I feel my play style, I feel way more comfortable with that. But I think there should be a mention about the queen, because the queen
has a really cool design as well. Yeah.
And we made it so, like, in a traditional chess game, the king and the queen are pretty much like the strongest pieces. And so in Checkmate Showdown, it's kind of the same, not exactly, but
I mean, we tried not to make it so that if you play the king and the queen,
They're
you
unbeatable.
can't, yeah,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to roll over the rest of your opponent's team. And yeah, but I do love the design of all the pieces.
Yeah, where they are
And,
right now, we're just
yeah,
we're super happy with.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I
I would
already
say like just like quickly touching on the design, like the design is dope. Like the queen looks so sick. Just looks like
thank you.
this badass like persona mask kind of thing, like sort of
Yeah.
inspired. It looks super
Mhm.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just added in the victory poses too, or they've been added in for a while now. But just that little extra, attitude that you can give, because
Exactly.
FGC is big on that too. Kind of just showing off and be like, no, like I'm better than you. So whenever one of your pieces wins, they have this victory pose, and they kind of just like shrug you off, and you go into the next game.
And the thing is, the knight was actually the fighters that was preferred by the players at Evo
Yeah.
as
Interesting.
well.
Oh.
It's yeah, it's really
Wow.
cool to see that happening as well. Yeah,
No love for the bishop, huh? Jeez. Christ.
Bishop was my favorite before we had.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, I think like those victory poses and whatnot, it gives the game flavor. It gives it more personality, I would say. And like I think that's something like I feel like that must have been some sort of a challenge as well. Because like how do you give chess personality and attitude? But like you guys did achieve that through just like the aesthetic, the design of the characters. Obviously, like when you see the fights in action, they're just so flashy, and which is another big thing I'd imagine is with even as like a very casual player watching like some of these Evo matches, like it's all about the show. And like you guys have
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
It's about the
Yeah.
game within the game, which literally is what we have. But also, we're talking about like the mind games that you can play, and
Yeah.
we much prefer like a competitive title that has the game within the game rather than a competitive title that's just like super open to like toxicity and stuff like that. Like so far, I think what we have is just like it's a as much as it is like a skill game for fighting game skills, you also like you can stack your chances in your favor if you set up your board properly. So there's that like cerebral play there too.
Yeah, we really tried to make it so the chess part makes a difference in the fighting part.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And, yeah.
So Kevin, when's Rainbow Billy being added to the game?
DLC character, depending on how we launch. No, listen, it wouldn't. You know what? It wouldn't be in their nature to fight. It would be in
No,
their nature
that's a
to
great answer. That's a
to tell
great
you
answer.
that there's other resolutions to this conflict, and that it's okay for you to feel the way that you're feeling.
And I'm over here thinking, like, when is the Queen's Gambit thing going to come in where we're playing on the ceiling and fighting upside down?
Yeah, well, so that one was like that was a big like accelerator for us in a sense where there's nothing in Queen's Gambit that we took and we put it in the game. It's just one of those things where because of Queen's Gambit during COVID, chess exploded.
Yeah.
And now we're at a point where it's just like there's over 500,000 players on chess.com every day. Chess boxing, the European, the real sport, chess boxing, the hybrid sport in Europe is making kind of its
Incredible.
way to North America. So these things put together, I mean, look, we're aware of like the timing of it. Like, we feel super, super lucky. Now it's just to kind of see, will people actually play the game for these reasons, or is it because it's a fighting game first? I mean, that's to be determined, but we're happy with like where the zeitgeist of everything is and how we're like fitting in there. Like I said
it's great
earlier,
timing.
like in the games, it takes a lot of luck and it's just like perfect timing. And right now we
Mhm.
feel like we're getting in that zone.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that behind the scenes a little bit, just over DM, how much of an uphill battle it is, and like, yeah, I think like the zeitgeist helps, the conversation is helping for sure, and I think November 15th is a good date as well. Like getting into the PR mindset a little bit, at least like you'll be out of the way. It's after our Mario's and Alan Wakes and all
Exactly.
those fun
Right
things,
after all
so-
that, and right before all the big stuff coming in December. So
Exactly.
it's again, like I said, luck, preparation, those time slots that you try to fit yourself in. I mean, listen,
Yeah, that's all it's about.
with indie luck, it's the kind of thing that like the week, and I'm knocking on wood, it's not going to happen, but like the week before, an Elden Ring 2 is going to come out all of a sudden out of the blue,
I know.
and so listen, it's just the reality of it. We're going to release the game regardless, but yeah, November 15th is when it comes out.
Listen, as long as Ed Boon is really confident about that September date, you're good.
Yeah,
No delays. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I mean, those dates were part of our thoughts on when are we going to release our game, and depending on we're gonna be at that moment. But yeah, we definitely could not launch the game in September anyway.
No.
So.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's no fly zone. I mean, Matt, are you going to be able to like finish development once Mortal Kombat 1 comes out?
Yeah.
Like, well, what's the deal? Like, is that just going to take over your life?
That's true.
Yeah. Well, for sure, we're going to want to deliver a product that fits the players' expectations. So yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
I think, and also, didn't you like crack top 60 for Mortal Kombat
Whew.
this year?
God damn.
I mean,
Top
yeah.
60, no practice whatsoever, just developing the game. So like, if you're a Mortal Kombat player, then you might have this kind of natural instinct with Checkmate Showdown. But we did see actually that the
Personally, we've had like lots of people telling us that it felt like Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
and I've got to say
yes.
that it being my favorite game,
Yeah.
I'm kind of flattered that this is what I get. But we really did not, and I'm not saying that like just to like try
Mhm.
to
No, of course.
or something, but we really did not take Mortal Kombat as a reference to make this game. Because the systems, the mechanics, the way you have to play is really different from what Mortal Kombat proposes, usually.
Yeah.
So
There-
and probably that because of the game feel, because of the the shake, the screen shaking, the moves, maybe that I don't know, but yeah, for sure that like pushing the game feel to have something unique, from me probably came with the fact that I play Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
For
Mhm.
sure. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie on this, but
no fatalities in
no
Checkmate Showdown.
fatalities, no nothing like that. Yeah.
When Rainbow Billy eventually decides to go evil.
That would be
Yeah.
the crossover of the century, I think.
Dude, imagine just a rainbow going through a bishop. Come on.
Well, or just like killing someone with kindness. Like I would
That's
love
it.
to
Just
see
compliments.
that fatality or whatever it would be called at that point.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
This is not my call anymore.
I'll have my people talk to your people.
Look at that business deals happening live on camera. We got the free. If you're watching this when this goes live on all the channels and whatnot, free weekend, September 9th and 10th. How could folks check that out?
Yeah, they can head straight to the Steam page. You'll be able to just download the game there. You'll have a free weekend. You can try it out. There are going to be leaderboards. So what we're trying to do is incentivize you playing that weekend. And so the top 50 that weekend will take a screenshot and we'll get a free key for the game when it comes out.
Hell yeah. So on September 9th, come at me, you cowards.
Show me what you got.
Show
And
me what you got.
And also, yeah, like any clips that you can get. So it's going to be, you can stream it. Any clips that you have, you can join our Discord and post it there. We will have this like Hall of Fame because we were talking about how, we've seen at the average match right now is around 15-20 minutes, which is pretty much like a sweet spot for us.
Yeah.
But we've seen like 1 minute matches. And so those matches
Wild.
where it's just
Yeah,
a minute.
like-
We'd love to show in the entire world how bad you played, and just like
That's gonna be me.
we saw someone lose his king to a pawn this weekend as well, or last weekend. So that's the kind of
Damn.
stuff that we're gonna want to push out marketing wise.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The good
Guys,
and
thank
the
you so
bad.
much for hanging out. November
you.
15th on Steam.
Yeah.
If you go to 61indie.com/showcase, the Discord link is in there. The Steam link is in there. Same with the description in the YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube. And hey, if you missed the mini indie showcase somehow, go to that link. Bunch of cool games. Indie games are cool. Don't worry about Mario. He can wait. Just go play these indies.
Starfield 2? I don't know.
Who cares?
They're all
You've been to space. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know?
Thanks for
The
having
new
us, guys.
space is the chessboard.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.